Have you ever noticed something strange? The moment you tell people your dream, something begins to die. The excitement fades, the energy disappears, and the plan that once felt so powerful suddenly becomes weak. At first you think it's bad luck, but what if it isn't? What if the real problem is not your dream, but the people hearing it? This is the story of a quiet man named Joe, a man who kept losing every dream he shared, until one day a stranger told him a sentence that changed his life forever. Joe was a simple man with a soft voice and a big heart. He worked as a cleaner in a large company, sweeping floors and emptying bins, while others wore suits and carried laptops. But every night after work, Joe sat at the small table in his tiny room and wrote in a brown notebook. He wrote his dreams. He dreamed of starting a small business. He dreamed of giving his mother money every month. He dreamed of one day helping young boys in his street to stay out of trouble. These dreams made him smile. They made him feel alive. But Joe had a problem. Every time he dreamed, he talked too much. If he wanted to start something, he would tell everybody, his co-workers, neighbours, friends, even strangers on the bus. He didn't know he was killing the seed before it grew. And every time he talked, the same thing happened. He became excited for a moment. Then he became weak. Then the plan died. Again and again. He didn't know why. But life would teach him. One Friday, Joe left work tired. His shoes were worn out and his back hurt after lifting bags of trash all day. He stopped at a small food stall and bought the cheapest thing, bread and tea. An old man sat beside him. He had grey hair, gentle eyes, and hands that looked like they had built many things. The old man watched Joe quietly for a few minutes. Then he said something strange. "Young man, your dreams are too loud." Joe looked up. "Sir?" The old man smiled. "You talk too much. That is why nothing is growing in your life." Joe felt embarrassed. "How do you know that?" "Because," the old man said, "I used to be you." He explained, "When you share dreams too early, people's words become seeds too. Seeds of doubt, jealousy, fear, and discouragement. Some people don't clap for you because they want to clap. They clap because they are counting your steps, to see when you will fall." The old man's voice became softer. "Dreams grow in silence. Work grows in silence. Even a seed grows underground where no eye can see it." Joe felt his heart beating slowly. Something in his spirit opened. The old man tapped Joe's chest gently. "Your dream is not weak. You are just sharing it with dream killers." Then he stood up. "Protect your dream, young man. Build first. Announce later." And he walked away. Joe never saw him again, but those words stayed in Joe's heart like fire. The next week at work, Joe tried something different. Instead of telling co-workers about his new plan, he kept quiet. He didn't comment when they mocked the way he dressed. He didn't complain when some laughed at his job. He just worked. But it was hard. One afternoon, a co-worker named Mark pushed him with his shoulder and said loudly, "Joe, which business are you pretending to start this time? Bread? Beans? Maybe you want to build a mansion?" Everyone laughed. Before, Joe would talk. He would defend himself. He would explain his plan. But this time he remembered the old man's voice. Dreams grow in silence. So he simply walked away. That night in his room he cried, not because of the mockery, but because for the first time he felt a new kind of strength, self-control. He knelt down beside his bed. "God, help me be quiet until it is time," he prayed. And a peace he had never felt before filled his heart. Joe entered what he later called his silent season. He stopped telling people his plans. He reduced unnecessary conversations. He stayed away from negative company. He stopped defending himself. He worked and prayed quietly. Every day after work, he spent 1 hour learning how to start a small cleaning business. He watched videos. He read simple articles. He saved money, little by little. At first, nothing changed on the outside. He still wore the same shoes. He still lived in the tiny room. He still ate cheap bread. But inside him, something powerful was growing. He became disciplined, stronger, focused. People noticed the change. He talked less, walked differently, smiled more. Some joked about him. Some said he was acting strange. Some even thought he was planning something evil. But Joe kept quiet. Silence was building him. One day, a friend named Lucas came to visit. Lucas was the type who always wanted to know everything. He looked around Joe's small room and asked, "Joe, you dey hide something. You don't talk like before. What are you planning?" Joe smiled. "Just working on myself." Lucas didn't like the answer. He pressed him again and again. "Tell me now, we're friends." Before, Joe would have told him everything, but something inside said, "If you want to go far, stop explaining yourself to people who don't carry your vision." So he simply said, "When it's time, you will see." Lucas became angry. "You think you're better than us now, Abby?" And he left. That night, Joe felt sad, but he didn't break.
He realized something deep. Silence will cost you some friendships, but noise will cost you your future. After saving for 8 months, Joe had enough money to buy cleaning tools. He got 2 brooms, a mop, some detergents, gloves, and a small plastic bucket. That was all he had. But he was ready. He went from shop to shop, office to office, offering his cleaning service politely. Many rejected him. Some insulted him. Some acted like he wasn't even standing there. But he didn't stop. One afternoon, a woman who owned a small office looked at him and said, "You look serious. Okay, clean my office as a test." Joe cleaned like his life depended on it. When he finished, the woman looked around the office and whispered, "This is the cleanest this place has ever been." She smiled. "Come every morning. I will pay you weekly." Joe's heart nearly burst with joy. That day, on his way home, he walked with tears on his face, tears of gratitude. He didn't tell anybody. He didn't post it. He didn't talk. He just thanked God silently. In 3 months, the woman recommended him to 2 other business owners. In 6 months, Joe bought better equipment. In 9 months, he hired one young boy from his street and paid him fairly. People started whispering, "How did Joe do it? Is he doing something illegal? I thought he was just a cleaner." But Joe stayed quiet. His life was talking for him. One Saturday, Joe got a call from a big company. They needed a cleaning team for their building. Someone had mentioned his name. Joe almost fainted. He quickly cleaned his shoes, wore his best shirt, and went for the meeting. The manager looked at him and said, "We heard you're disciplined, humble, and trustworthy. We want to give you the contract." Joe blinked. He couldn't speak. He felt God's presence so strongly. When he finally found his voice, he whispered, "Thank you, sir. I will not disappoint you." And he didn't. He worked faithfully until his company became one of the most respected small cleaning businesses in the area. Years later, when Joe bought his own home and took care of his mother, old friends began calling him again. Some wanted help. Some wanted money. Some wanted to know how he made it. But Joe never bragged. He never mocked anyone. He never acted proud. He simply said, "God helped me, and I learned to keep quiet." Some understood. Some didn't. But Joe had found peace. One evening, Joe sat with the young boys from his street, the same boys he once dreamed of helping. They admired him. They asked him questions. "Uncle Joe, how did you become successful?" He looked at their young faces and said, 3 things. 1. Stop talking too much. 2. Start working in silence. 3. Give God space to move." Then he added softly, "Your dream is a seed. Plant it. Water it. Protect it. Don't expose it before it grows." The boys nodded slowly, understanding every word. Joe smiled, because now he knew. He didn't just succeed. He became the message God wanted others to hear. Sometimes, silence is not emptiness. It is protection. It is focus. It is obedience. When you stop sharing everything too early, when you stop seeking approval, when you stop explaining yourself, When you stop letting people clap for dreams you haven't built, then God will show you what He can do with a quiet heart. Just like Joe, your story can change. Your strength can return. Your dream can rise again. All you need is silence, discipline,